How many girls' bones are hidden in the piles of gold in Dubai, whether voluntarily, coerced, or trafficked? They all became playthings of the powerful and privileged class, yet this key mastermind in front of us actually holds countless model resources, and has built an unprecedented exclusive harem for the Dubai royal family. When arrested, her personal assets amounted to $2.4 billion. But can you imagine that 18 months ago, she was just a poor girl who couldn't even afford to eat? The girl is named Amy, and she won a beauty pageant when she was in the 8th grade. As a girl with a beautiful appearance in the small town, she was often admired and pursued by men. One day, in order to raise money for a train ticket to a big city, she even took off her underclothes as a bet, and finally won the gamble with her excellent skills. Moreover, with the support of a kind-hearted person, Amy successfully took part in a larger beauty pageant as she wished. But the advantages she was once proud of were worthless here, and the dress she had bought with all her savings now looked so cheap. As expected, Amy finally failed to make the cut. She felt that she was good for nothing, and even the second-hand high heels on her feet suddenly seemed to lose their confidence. Overwhelmed with despair, Amy ran to the bathroom and burst into tears. It should be noted that she, who had always been proud and arrogant, had never suffered such humiliation before. Just then, the kind-hearted person who had supported her suddenly appeared, and invited Amy to have dinner together. At this point, Mary, the beauty pageant champion, sat down beside them. This pageant was founded by Mary's mother, and Mary herself was just a pimp, with many years of experience in the trade. Although on the surface it was a beauty pageant, it was actually an occasion for wealthy people to select their targets. The man who sponsored Amy wasn't a good person either. He was a seasoned lecher, and his lascivious eyes should have long seen Amy's innocence. But Amy, who had no experience in the ways of the world, couldn't detect any of this and had no idea that she was slowly falling into someone else's trap. The two people beside her took turns talking, and cooperated with each other, and Amy seemed to feel less upset. Before leaving, Mary handed her business card to Amy, and told her to contact her if she needed help. After Mary left, the kind-hearted person opposite finally stopped hiding, and bluntly voiced his thought.
Zarobiłabyś na nowe buty? Co ty na to?
After some hesitation and weighing the pros and cons, Amy still couldn't resist the temptation of money in the end. When the two were about to take the elevator upstairs, Amy's elderly mother suddenly appeared at the door, pulled Amy out of the elevator, and prepared to take her away. The customer is God. Mary's mother, who was a madam, came over from the side. She didn't want to lose the customer in front of her, so she calmly explained to Amy's mother. But Amy's mother wasn't easy to fool. She straightforwardly asked, "Would you let your own daughter take part in this?" Unexpectedly, the other person actually called her own daughter over, so Amy and her mother walked out of the hotel while arguing. But soon, they acted as if nothing had happened, and got on the bus home arm in arm. But Amy was a girl who was unwilling to live an ordinary life. Looking at the business card in her hand, she sneaked off the bus while her mother was asleep. Soon, under the guidance of Mary and her mother, Amy took her first business deal in life. But she had second thoughts just before walking into the door. Mary and her mother quickly persuaded Amy, "If the man inside makes you feel very uncomfortable, you can choose not to do it. This is just the key to starting a happy life. You can make money without hard work. Where can you find such a good thing?" So with the encouragement of Mary and her mother, Amy successfully opened up a new world for herself, and earned her first pot of gold in life. After it was over, Amy happily handed the remuneration to Mary's mother. She originally thought she would get at least half of it, but in the end, she got nothing. It turned out that during this period, Mary's mother had been covering all of Amy's expenses. Naturally, there was no share for her. If she wanted to get more remuneration, she could only take more deals. Later, under the guidance of Mary and her mother, Amy became more and more skilled in her business. As long as the money was in place, Amy would basically not refuse the guests' requests. The man who had sponsored Amy before also visited her frequently, and he liked to film the process very much. Although Amy was quite reluctant, she unwillingly agreed for the sake of money. This filming also laid the groundwork for Amy's later life. Because of Amy's outstanding performance recently, Mary's mother decided to take everyone to travel to Dubai. But this trip opened a new door for Amy. While they were sitting and resting, a group of well-trained young women boarded the nearby luxury cruise ship. This made Amy and Mary very envious. They were all women, and their conditions were no worse than others. Why could those women board the ship? You really can't underestimate women's psychology of comparison. Back at the hotel, Amy found that the handsome guy she had seen on the cruise ship during the day was also here. She quickly called Mary to prepare for a chance encounter, but they were stopped by a waiter as soon as they reached the second floor, and were told that the room inside was a high-stakes poker room. The entry fee was $10. $10,000 in chips. For the sake of broader development in the future, Amy immediately took out the $10,000 she hadn't yet handed over. As soon as they sat down at the gambling table, they had already attracted the attention of the men present. But Amy's eyes were fixed on the handsome man in front of her. As the gambling game progressed, Amy finally used Mary as a stake and chose to go all in. After the handsome man revealed his whole card, Amy chose to concede defeat voluntarily. But when the man turned over Amy's whole card, he realized that this woman had been letting him win all along. Although Amy's move seemed like a loss on the surface, it actually aroused great curiosity in the handsome man towards her. When Mary's mother found out that she had lost both money and her daughter, she couldn't help but fly into a rage at Amy, but urged Mary's mother to take a longer view, saying this might be an opportunity for them. Just as the two were locked in an argument, Mary came back with a big smile on her face. It seemed she had spent a happy and unforgettable night. Seeing her daughter's unpromising appearance, Mary's mother became even angrier. The next day, when the three were about to leave the hotel, a hotel waiter stopped them and said a Mr. Sam wanted to see Amy, and he was at the front desk right then. Amy's plan had worked. Winning Sam over was equivalent to getting a chance to step onto a higher platform. The man told Amy that his boss would hold an event in 7 days and needed 10 girls to be brought along, and Sam would only contact Amy directly. This unexpected surprise filled the three with great joy, and Mary's mother began to look at Amy with newfound respect. But a new problem arose. Although they didn't know the other person's preferences and requirements, the middle-aged women they currently had, who were no longer young or attractive, would definitely not meet the standards. When Mary's mother heard Amy bad-mouthing the girls under her, she immediately felt displeased and bluntly told Amy to find suitable girls by herself. But this didn't stump Amy either. While accompanying Mary for a magazine shoot, Amy secretly took the magazine editor-in-chief's model portfolio. After contacting the models, she successfully attracted many high-quality girls. Amy didn't go into details about the event. She only told the girls that they could enjoy themselves to their heart's content, and also earn a high bonus. As soon as she finished speaking, Amy's mother appeared behind her. She had no idea when her daughter had arrived. It turned out her daughter was still doing the thing she hated. As they argued, Amy's mother threw back all the money Amy had sent home. Although she was facing the prospect of severing ties with her mother, Amy still didn't want to give up this great opportunity. She wanted to build a career for herself. When the appointed day came, Amy boarded a plane to France with a group of very beautiful girls. To make up the agreed number of 10 people, she also brought along Camila, a bar waitress, on a whim. After arriving at the hotel designated by Sam, the girls were told that the host of the party was a Dubai prince. They were told not to approach the rooms without permission, not to harass the guests without reason, and they could move freely during the rest of the time. It was only then that the innocent Camila realized the real purpose of their trip here. Feeling guilty towards her boyfriend, Camila looked worried. Amy comforted Camila, saying she was just there to make up the numbers, and the princes might not even notice her. Amy's comfort had a certain effect, but something about it just didn't sound right. The next day at the party, when the girls saw the handsome and wealthy princes in front of them, their eyes lit up immediately. To Amy's surprise, the host of the party took a fancy to the unremarkable Camila, and the two couldn't help but start intimate conversation. After going back to the room, Camila excitedly told Amy about her experience just now, many of which were things she had never experienced with her boyfriend. Most importantly, the prince wasn't short of money. Due to their previous differences, Amy wanted to cut ties with Mary's mother. When Sam handed over a huge sum of remuneration to Amy, it strengthened her resolve to break off the relationship. On the other hand, when Mary's mother saw all the money going into Amy's pocket, the envy and hatred in her heart could no longer be contained. So she took Mary to see the crown prince, hoping to replace Amy. Unexpectedly, the crown prince didn't take her seriously at all, and the mother and daughter left upset. This matter was eventually known to Sam. If it weren't for his appreciation of Amy, the cooperation would probably have been terminated. Under the glow of the lights, Sam took the opportunity to confess his feelings to Amy, but Camila was singing dejectedly at this time. She had thought the prince was only fond of her, but it turned out he was just looking for a momentary thrill. Amy was interrupted again. It turned out that Camila had seduced other men to make the prince jealous, but her failure to follow through aroused the men's dissatisfaction. Just after Amy reprimanded Camila, she ran into Mary's mother and wanted to settle scores with her. But Mary's mother incited Amy to betray Sam, wanting her to connect directly with the princes. Amy wasn't as short-sighted as her. She knew that without Sam, it would be impossible to get in touch with the princes at all, Mary's mother, but dismissed this, because she had already sent Mary to talk to the prince. In the evening, Mary came back dejectedly, but as one can imagine, the mother and daughter cuddled up on the bed, comforting each other's wounded hearts. At the same time, Amy received unanimous praise from the princes, and was given expensive gifts. In a month, they would hold a grand party on a yacht, and hoped Amy would bring 50 girls to attend. The requirement was that the girls attending must be new faces. Even Mary and her mother weren't allowed to come. Amy explained that they were her partners, but the prince didn't agree. Amy knew that her era was about to begin. After going back to Poland, Amy immediately attended various beauty pageants and social gatherings of noble ladies. It should be noted that finding 50 high-quality girls was no easy task. Through various efforts, Amy's team of models gradually grew. Among them were not only unsuccessful singers, but also minor celebrities from the 18th tier. Amy even started attending auctions, and it was at one of these auctions that Amy met Bark, an honest and straightforward young man. She told Bark that she was a model agent. The two soon fell in love. One day, Amy was invited to dinner by Bark's parents. In order to make a good impression, Amy tried her best to present herself as a compliant and well-behaved girl, but Bark's father had been involved in the underworld before. The moment he saw Amy, he sensed a familiar aura about her. When Amy said that complimentary saying,
Ze wszystkich stworzeń Allaha najpiękniejsze są kobiety i konie.
It further confirmed her line of work, as this was a phrase commonly used by foreign clients of prostitutes. Bark's father thought his son was just having a fling, but he never expected his son to want to marry her. When Amy went back to her seat, Bark's father pointed out her real identity, and the atmosphere at the table turned awkward instantly. Amy took the opportunity to make an excuse and left. Back at the hotel, Mary's mother couldn't help but complain about Amy. With the party drawing closer, Amy still had time to go out and date. Mary's mother demanded that she get the majority of the money, and that Amy must follow her instructions from then on. Amy was already in a low mood, and upon hearing these words, she immediately confronted Mary's mother, saying that they wouldn't be allowed to take part in the next event. Upon hearing this, the mother and daughter broke down immediately. Amy took Camila and left the room, temporarily staying at Bark's house. After several days of unremitting efforts, Amy finally gathered 50 high-quality girls, but on the day of departure, one of the girls backed out at the last minute. A glamorous air hostess caught Amy's attention.
Mam takie zabawne pytanie. Obciągnęłabyś za 10 000?
So the 50-person group was finally complete. Before long, they took a ship to a private island and, with Sam's introduction, stood in front of the wealthy patron. The wealthy patron in front of them was sitting in a wheelchair, looking at the girls with a solemn expression. His attendants signaled for them to dance, and then asked the girls to imitate various animals. Whoever could make the patron laugh would receive a bonus. Tempted by the money, the girls began to do their utmost to make themselves look ridiculous. At this point, one girl's wig was accidentally pulled off, and unexpectedly, it made the patron laugh heartily, earning her a large bonus. Later, one girl found Amy and said that these actions harmed her dignity and that she wanted to leave. But when she saw the girl approaching with a pile of bonus money, she thought it over and decided to stay for the time being. The next day, as Amy was about to go out to dinner with Sam, Bark suddenly appeared in front of her. Before she even left the hotel, this honest and straightforward man actually knew how to give a girl a surprise. Sam only felt awkward, but he didn't expose the situation on the spot. Back in the room, just as Amy was about to have a deep conversation with Bark, she was interrupted by a series of phone calls. It turned out that the party was being held earlier than scheduled. With a strong drive for her career, Amy had to leave Bark behind and take the girls to the party venue. Halfway through the party, one girl couldn't stand the perverted demands of these wealthy patrons and wanted to leave immediately. When Sam saw that Amy couldn't persuade her to stay, he came over to defuse the situation himself. Amy took the opportunity to explain Bark's matter to Sam, but this only made Sam angrier. He immediately scolded Amy, then grabbed a girl standing nearby and told Amy to come and smell the cigarette smoke in her mouth. At the same time, he pointed out Camila, who was wearing a wig. In short, what Sam wanted to say was, "I've treated you so well, yet you've deceived me." The party ended on a sour note. The unwilling girl went to Amy and said that if she was sent home, she would sue Amy for luring a minor into illegal business. But another accident happened. When they went back to the hotel, they found that the commission they had earned, money they got by selling their bodies, had disappeared without a trace. Helplessly, as victims, they couldn't call the police. They had to escape from the hotel through the back door. Under Sam's guidance, when Camila learned that she would never be able to board the cruise ship again, she wanted to get her passport and go back home, which led to a break between Amy and her On the other hand, the girls who had reboarded the cruise ship cherished the opportunity in front of them they exerted all kinds of physical potentials without complaint. This was beyond what the word perverted could describe. These watching the video can use your imagination, based on your own understanding. It's truly that money breeds desire, and desire drowns out humanity. The lonely Camila found Mary's mother, through her introduction. Camila took a deal that she would never forget for the rest of her life, and suddenly began to doubt the meaning of her existence. At the same time, the second prince on the cruise ship suddenly became very interested in Amy. After being rejected, he tried to force her, while Sam just silently handed him a wine bottle nearby. The situation was about to get out of control, when the crown prince appeared and stopped it in time. After going through so many things, Amy thought Sam was someone she could rely on, and the two started intimate interaction to their heart's content. Camila was trying to contact Amy, but only got her phone message in return. This became the last straw that broke the camel's back. After the passion faded, Amy noticed the drawer by the bed and found that it contained Camila's pink backpack for storing money. Amy was stunned for a moment, but after calm thinking, she didn't go to confront Sam. Instead, she took the girls and left the cruise ship. The disheartened Amy saw Bart suddenly appear with flowers, and proposed to her by the sea. Amy thought the man in front of her might be her true home. Ironically, it was the same sea. At this point, in Amy's eyes, it was a symbol of romance, while on the other side, Camila sank into the deep sea forever. A year later, Amy successfully became a mother. At the same time, she learned from TV that Camila had died, but it no longer had anything to do with her. A few years later, when Amy thought she had completely returned to a normal life, Sam's sudden appearance shocked her. His purpose was simple, to make Amy go back to her old business. But Amy had finally lived a peaceful life. How could she let others break it casually? So Sam bribed Mary and her mother, but Amy still stuck to her stance. But the saying every cause has its effect held true. When Amy got home, she saw that the video taken of her before was playing on TV. Bart's father finally had enough reason to drive Amy out of the house. In the sorrow of losing her family and her daughter, Amy had to accept reality. She took the initiative to contact Mary and her mother, planning to earn enough money to regain custody of her daughter. What Amy didn't know, but was that she was just a lamb to be slaughtered. Everything was a trap to lure her in. When she arrived at the banquet, she found that the person in power now was actually the second prince. The second prince was a very vengeful man. After all, he still had the deep scar on his face. Amy realized something was wrong, and tried to take Mary and her mother away with her. But the truth was terrifying. Mary and her mother had known about the plan all along, and it was they who provided that video, which Sam eventually sent to Amy's home. At this point, Amy was trapped with no way to escape, and could only let the second prince do with her as he pleased. It turned out, he was the most perverted one in the royal family. After suffering all kinds of inhuman torture, Amy left the banquet covered in wounds. A few days later, she prepared to go to the school to see her daughter with gifts, but before she could react, she was pinned to the ground by sudden police officers. It turned out that over the years, Camila's boyfriend had been collecting various criminal evidences to avenge his girlfriend. Amy finally paid the price for her actions. While in prison, Amy's mother came to visit her. It turned out that when everyone else abandons you, only a mother will never leave her daughter behind. A few years later, Amy, who had completed her reform, walked out of prison. She sat on the bus back to her hometown, looked at the scenery outside the window, and began to recount all the regrets she had from the past. Back in the small town, Amy ran the small shop that her mother used to own, and that's where the movie ends. Although the specific characters and plots of the movie Girls of Dubai are fictional, it's adapted from real events. All plots are based on conversations with police officers, prosecutors, court documents, and the female leads of the incident. Although the film presents the extravagant and indulgent lives of the rich in an exaggerated way, it focuses on combating sexual crimes beneath its glamorous exterior. The movie unsparingly exposes the corruption and ugliness of high society, and makes a sharp contrast between the very luxurious life scenes and the despicable transactions hidden within them, thus making people deeply feel the distortion and impact of desire on human nature. At the same time, the film also delicately portrays the heroine's inner transformation, from her initial yearning for a luxurious life to her later confusion and awakening. This process fully shows how she grows and reflects in a complex social environment. In today's materialistic society, people's pursuit of material things and wealth has become the focus of society. This film warns us, whether we have forgotten the true value deep in our hearts, while pursuing external things. Girls of Dubai isn't just a fascinating story, but more like a mirror that reflects the complexity and diversity of real society, allowing us to pay more attention to And think about this social phenomenon. If you like my channel, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.